Hi guys, so today I'm going to be making one of my all-time favorites, okay? And this is churros. Now, for persons who travel overseas all the time, and if you're a big fan of theme parks, that's something that you're going to love. Now, guess what? Today, I'm going to be using my Proctor Silex, one burner stove top, whatchamacallit there, yeah, my one burner stove top, just to make this recipe, because you know what, it's easier than toggling between the kitchen counter and the stove. After all, I was given this gift by Wisdom, and so when Wisdom gives you a gift, you just have to go ahead and use it, right? So that's what I'm doing. So it's actually heating up right now, as you can see, or I don't know if you can see. Yes, you should be seeing a little bit of color coming through the elements, right? It's getting hot, and we're doing that. In the meantime, I have some eggs here, I have some sugar and salt, I do have a little bit of oil, water, and flour, and I'm going to be making what is called a churro in order to make this churro. Now, this is something that can go wrong. It's not hard to make, but it can go wrong if the dough is not at the right consistency. The first time I made this, it was an epic flop. I just could not get the dough out of the piping bag, but guess what, I quickly figured out where I went wrong. So this time I'm hoping to get it right. Now remember, I am no professional chef. I'm just an amateur showing everything on this channel that I love to eat. So guys, stay tuned. So to the saucepan, I am going to be, well hot. I'm going to be throwing in the water. I'm also going to be throwing in the oil. I have the sugar and the salt. I'm just going to be putting that in there as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and whisk this around. So as soon as this water comes to a boil, the next step is for me to go ahead and add the flour. Okay, so I just want this to come to a boil. We want the sugar to be dissolved. Wow, this hot plate works wonders. Look how quickly it's heating up, guys. Alright, so once this comes to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar. Sorry, I'm going to add the flour. Alright, so now that the water has come to a boil, I'm going to be throwing in my flour right into this mixture. Okay, we have to be very careful throwing in the flour. And as soon as I'm doing that, the key thing here is to go ahead and whisk this around. Very important. Alright, so we're going to spin this around so that there are no lumps. We're doing it quickly. And once we get that rawness out of the flour out, we're just going to remove it from the heat and stir this all around just to form the dough. So if you look at the consistency here, you will notice that everything has come away from the pot basically, and it's like a ball. So you just want to put this back on the stove, turn it down to low heat, and continue to work this just to get rid of a little bit of the moisture that might be in the dough. Once done, you want to allow the dough to just sit there and cool off, rest a little bit, after which we're going to be adding our eggs one at a time. I'm going to be using 2 eggs, but if it is that the dough does not get to the consistency that I want, I will have to add another. So I've already cracked 2 eggs, but I have one sitting over there at room temperature just in case I'm going to need it. All right, so in the meantime, I'm going to be preparing or powdered sugar, and that's actually going to be brown sugar with some cinnamon. So I'm going to get that little bowl going right away. So here we have our brown sugar and cinnamon mix. It's just 2 simple steps, combining the brown sugar and the cinnamon. Now, if you'd like, you could actually purchase cinnamon sugar in the supermarket, but again, you know that I'm a strong believer in using what's in your household. So this is now sitting here and ready to go. All right, I also have my piping bag ready. As you can see, I have attached the star tape. This will give the churro the nice little shape that we're looking for. So the piping bag is also ready, and I'm waiting on my batter to cool down. As I've said, I think it's cool enough. Yeah, it's cool enough to the touch. So before I add the eggs, I'm just gonna tip a little bit of vanilla to this. That will give it a nice little flavor. All right, so I have my vanilla here, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to be adding my first, ooh, come on, the first egg. You see, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing this little by little, and it's for the simple fact that I have to check the consistency as I go ahead. So I'm gonna be mixing this now. All right, guys, I'm not even so sure that this is as thick as I actually want it, but the important thing is it's coming out. Okay, so if it's too soft, that's fine. Now there are two options to do this. One, I could choose to, this is messy, tell you this is the baking thing we can't bother with. All right, I do have more butter, so I just wanted to show you how this would work. All right, so there are two options. I can leave that there and bake it off in the oven, which I might do with some, as well as I can leave it here, put it in the refrigerator for probably 30 minutes for it to chill up, and then I could go ahead and fry. So I'm going to refill my piping bag and then just complete this all the way through. Okay? Yeah, so remember now, I am not the best of this. I tried my very best to get these coming out churro looking. Some of them are a little bit too thick. The piping bag in itself, cheapness is not always good. I do have a lot of piping tips, but unfortunately the only bag I found was the one that I showed you. So that's now in the garbage, and I'm gonna get me a real piping bag because that had to be a joke. So anyway, I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator now for probably 20-30 minutes just for them to firm up, and then I'm gonna fry them off. Alright guys, so I have the pan on top of my stovetop oven. That's what I call it, my one burner stovetop oven. And I'm just gonna go ahead now and pop the churros in. Guys, so I have gone in with just about 4. I'm not crowding the pot because I don't want the temperature to fall too much. I'm just allowing them now to go through and fry up, and of course stay tuned for the finished product. By the way, don't judge me on the shape. As I said, I had a bad piping bag experience. I am not a professional baker. I always say that, and in fact I prefer to cook than I do baking. Baking is just not my thing. If I really have to, then I can bake a one cake, like a, you know, like a carrot muffin and them something like. But this is my second attempt at churros. The first time was a big disaster, but this time I was adamant that I would get it to a stage where it was actually edible. So let's see how these turn out. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. Now let's be clear, these were supposed to be churros, which means that they were supposed to be nice and slim, you know, slender, with all of those star tip shape and everything going on. Unfortunately, they didn't end up coming out like churros, but do they taste like churros? Absolutely. What's the lesson here? Sometimes you're trying to do something and it might not turn out to be as the prototype or as perfect as the prototype, but trust in your own process. Do what makes you happy. Accept what is. And also, there's another lesson. If at first you don't succeed, or if the second time you didn't succeed, or if the second time you succeed more than you did the first time, and you still would like a different level of perfection, then certainly you can go ahead and do it once more. For sure, I'm going to be trying this recipe again. As I said, taste-wise, these are on point, okay? They are full of flavor, taste just like what I know to be the taste of churros. They just don't look that way. But guess what? You could also say that these are some Via's churros. This is the way I make them. I'm more than likely they might sell. But anyway, guys, you know, just go ahead, like this video, share, comment, subscribe. And of course, I'll see you in the next video.